Good morning, classroom family, and welcome to the last 2 days of another week together. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2020, and the activities that I'm going to be explaining and discussing in this video are being assigned for today, Thursday, and for tomorrow, Friday, well into the weekend. And I do want to let you know, as we are in our final stretch, nearing closer to the end of your grade 1 or grade 2 academic year, this load is going to be a little lighter. So I'm not going to load you up with as many activities as I've normally been, because I want you to enjoy some of the beautiful weather that we've been experiencing. Hopefully it lasts into the weekend. So I would like to begin, of course, discussing our focus on fractions. A lot of you told me that it's going really well and you're understanding equal parts and you're understanding how to express the fractions. You're identifying the numerator and the denominator. So I just wanted to go through the activities, and they should be rather fun. And again, if you're running out of paper or ink at this time and you want to be careful about what you're printing, if you are printing these activities, you can hold off on these ones and maybe just point to the screen and identify the parts. So for example, both grade 1s and 2s are going to focus on equal parts and equal groups as good practice for fractions. So let's go through the equal parts activities. You have a variety of shapes here, all different shapes. Some you recognize, like the cross, like the heart. There are pentagons and parallelograms, all sorts of shapes. And what you are being asked to do is just color the shapes that are divided into equal parts. That means that have been split up equally, where there's the same portion of each part. So don't get fooled, because some are divided, but they're not divided equally. And if you don't want to color them, you can just point to the screen and identify the shapes that have been divided equally and the shapes that are divided not equally, all right? And going into the equal groups activities, again, if you do print, there's a fun legend to follow. So if the shape has been divided into two or halves, you can color it red. If it has been divided into thirds, you can color it blue. For fourths, the color would be green. Fifths, the color would be yellow. And for sixths, the color would be orange. And if the shape is not divided into equal parts at all, it can be colored purple. And again, if you don't print, just make sure you point to the screen and you identify the way that the shape has been divided. And this is actually excellent practice, especially for our grade 2s, whose wordless words for the week are thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths. Remember that th at the end of many of them, okay? Not halves, not thirds, but fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, eighths, it does go on. So this should be a review after what we talked about. Now we're going to explore the activities that are being divided up for the grade 1s and the grade 2s. And this time, I'm going to begin with the grade 2 activity, because the grade 1 activity has a little component that's challenging that I want to talk about in a couple of seconds. For my grade 2s, you are once again going to identify the way that a shape has been split or divided by identifying the way that it's been divided. You have choices going from halves to thirds and to quarters. Quarters is another way of saying fourths, my friends. Just remember that. So look carefully at the shape. Make sure you can identify what the shape is and decide if it has been divided equally and whether it is in halves, thirds, or quarters, all right? Again, this is just an extension of everything that we've been learning. Now to the grade 2 activity. You are being asked to split up these shapes that are whole right now, okay? So they're in whole form right now, and you are being asked to divide them. For example, the first shape, you're being asked to split into halves, which is 2 parts. And it continues. Again, when you see quarters, that means 4. We also know that from our unit on coins and money. But the last 2 problems on this page, I've put in there because I know that they will be challenging, but they will leave you with a very important lesson for future work with fractions. So for example, if you look at the circle, the second last problem on the page. It's asking you to divide it into 8 equal parts. That is possible, and I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it, but I'm going to give you a couple of hints or head starts here. So if this is your circle grade 1s, and grade 2s, if you want to do this, please feel free. Again, you don't have to print it out, but if you want to try this, you will also need a ruler to help you with this. But what I would do is when you look at that circle, start in the middle. Make a little dab or a little dot in the middle, just like I did with my magic marker, and start by dividing it into halves. Now, I know it's asking you to divide it into 8ths, but if you start with a vertical line down the middle, that's halves. Then if you start with another line across horizontally, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the rest you'll keep dividing perhaps diagonally, and I promise you will end up with 8ths. Again, try to think of it as a pie or a whole pizza. For the next activity, you have a pentagon, and I believe you are being asked to divide the pentagon into 5 parts. Again, my suggestion to you is to make a little dot in the center. Take out a ruler for straight lines, because when we're dividing any shape into fractions, it's a good idea to use straight lines, and rulers help us make those. And again, if you connect that dot to all the corners or vertices, you will have 5 equal parts. So I don't want to go ahead and do it for you. I do want to leave you with that challenge or that task of doing it on your own, because I believe it will help you in the future. So those are your activities with fractions. Enjoy those, and I can't wait to hear about what you learned from them. Next, we're going to go on to 2 separate activities. A reading comprehension for the grade 1s called Rosie's Day at the Playground. And again, remember, we're building stamina in our reading now. We're trying to get from the beginning to the end, and we're trying to persevere, fight through those challenging roadblock words that we meet. Now, in this reading, you will encounter a few. For example, playground itself is a compound word, okay? Playground. If you take the words apart, they can work separately. I'm trying to think of what else we see in there that may be challenging. For example, how about the word kangaroo? You're going to come across the word kangaroo, and I'm thinking there was one more. Here it is. It's a body part. Shoulders. Shoulders. The U is silent in shoulder. So when you get to that, you know the SH digraph. Go right to the O, and the U is silent. Shoulders. Okay? So I would say those are your challenging words that you might stop at, and I just wanted to make you aware of those. So when you get to it, you can keep going forward. And there are some questions to answer in relation to the comprehension, just to ensure that you're understanding what you're reading. Because when we read, we do much more than decode. Okay, we don't just read the words, we try to express that we've understood the content. That means the information. That goes for the grade 2s as well. You're reading a comprehension piece called Reading Adventure, and one of the characters' names is Claire. I don't want you to get confused, because in her name there's an I, but the I is silent, okay? So I'm telling you this, so it's one less thing for you to stumble on. And I'm trying to think about any words in here that are going to stand out for you or be extra challenging. There are a couple of compound words as well, like bookshelf. And let's see, the word characters is in there, but you should know that from our retelling. And I actually think this one will be a perfect reading for you, because you can make an actual connection to it, because you go on several reading adventures. Again, try to build stamina by reading it from beginning to end, and then go back and test yourself to do it a second or even a third time before answering the follow-up questions. Now, your final activity in these files, because like I said, this is going to be a lighter load for you, we are going to continue our exploration of synonyms, okay? When we have words that mean the same thing, but they're completely spelled differently and they sound differently, but they have the same meaning. Remember, we talked about big or large, scared or frightened. They mean the same thing, but they're different words. And they're there to keep writing interesting and fresh, so we don't keep using the same word. What I'm going to ask you to do is read the paragraph here called Ice Cream Surprise. And then I'm going to ask you to rewrite the paragraph. And each word that is underlined has a synonym here in the word bank that you can replace it with. And when you rewrite the article or the reading, it will be with the brand new synonym. So then you can read them back side to side to each other and compare. It will be the same information, but using a synonym to replace the underlined words. All right, my friends, I know that this is a bit shorter than normal, but I do want to give you some time to enjoy the beautiful spring weather we're having, but I still want to keep you in touch with all your learning. I hope that everyone is having a terrific week and that you're all continuing to stay safe. And I look forward to seeing all of you very soon. Keep giving it your all. Congratulations, you've stuck it out. Keep staying strong and motivated because you are a lifelong learner, all right? Have fun and happy learning, my friends.